You're like a kid in a candy store.
This
It's
is
so much fun.
nifty. Well, I just got a new webcam and it's like really like HD, and so I'm like I've got all these new toys because it was a kind of like a running joke with me and Jessica. It's like she had a company Christmas party, and I was like, well, it's just me, so my company Christmas party for our Secret Santa, I just buy myself stuff, and that's just how it goes. So, but yeah, so we're live anyway. So we're live, but cool. So. Yeah, so let's just, I guess, jump into it. So this is for those of you guys that are watching right now. This is my client Ashley, badass mama, full-time worker, like just an amazing client that I got the opportunity to work with, and so I wanted to go live today and just kind of chat with her and let her kind of share her experience and all that, and just kind of do an interview so everybody can kind of see how it goes. So let's give the audience like a bit of a backstory on who you are. So like how old are you? What do you do for work, and where are you from? Let's just start there.
Yeah, so I'm 30. Although, Austin, I don't think you're supposed to ask women how old they are,
Yeah,
but I'm still young enough that I'm okay with divulging that. So I'm 30. I have 3 kiddos. I've been married for 7 years to my husband, Christopher. I'm from Terre Haute, but I live in Evansville, Indiana now. And I work for the Red Cross. Right now, I'm doing 2 jobs. But sooner or later, we will hire for my old position, and I will just be able to be the district manager for our biomedical donor recruitment side of the house. So yeah, lots. When he talks about me being busy,
yeah.
busy.
I literally I do not know how you do it. I do know how you do it. It's because you make it a priority and you care about it. But it's just like
Right.
You're like busier than like 99% of the people that I know and like also work with. Like it's insane. And so yeah, so that's awesome. And so I guess what made you like, how did you get into that kind of like position or like line of work? Like what drew you to it, to like working with the Red Cross and everything?
Yeah, so I actually have my degree in social work,
Mm-hmm.
and I have my master's in public administration with a focus on nonprofits. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've always had this ideal of like bigger than myself. I want to do
Mm-hmm.
something that is, beyond just myself to make the world a better place.
That's
But
awesome.
the Red Cross is just a perfect fit because I've had a lot of individuals in my family impacted by negative health situations, cancer being one of them, and they've received platelets or plasma or blood.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just something where I've always been a blood donor as soon as I was eligible. And now I have the opportunity to help educate the population about how important it is to donate blood. So it's
Yeah,
really awesome. It's not only a professional kind of goal for me to be in the role that I am, but a personal one too, because I get to help save lives every day. And
that's
that's
awesome.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and you do all kinds of other like really like great things. Like I see like almost every time I go on Facebook, she's like, "Oh, Ashley's doing like a drive," or "Oh, she's doing all these." Like it's like I just
Stop it.
yeah, no, like, seriously, like it's crazy. So, but yeah, so let's talk about working together in the program and things like that. So like before you and I like worked together, what was your biggest struggle when it came to your like fitness journey?
So some people may not know this about me, some that know me, some people may. I'm very much of a like black and white, like hardcore. There is no in between with me. I'm either like super jacked and excited, or if I'm down, I'm legit down. So I I was always stuck in this mindset of like I have to go 100 if I'm gonna
Mhm.
do it. And
Yeah.
so I would go way too far. I would over exercise. I would not be eating enough. I would not be getting enough nutrition or enough sleep to make sure that I was being healthy. Or I was binge eating my emotions and feelings and being completely lackadaisical and not doing anything at all in
Mhm.
terms of physical activity. So it was hard for me to find that moderation. I'm
Yeah.
also like a cheerleader for everybody else, but it's hard to cheerlead myself. So like my inner voice before working with you and learning so much was really negative.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things too that kind of hindered me is I wanted to be perfect. But I always let myself down, if that makes sense, because I set unrealistic expectations that
Mhm.
were also uneducated. My choices were not good by any means.
And that's super common though too. And when we first started working together, like even before like we started working together, when we were just like messaging over Facebook and stuff, like I could tell, like even in the messages, I was like, oh, like she's kind of like a perfectionist in a lot of ways. Like, just 'cause, like everything that you do, like
A bit of it.
you've always excelled at, and like you've always like just done a really good job. But when it comes to you know fitness and or like a fitness journey or like weight loss goals or things like that, it's one of those things that your expectations a lot of times are like un I guess like un like almost unachievable a lot of times because the way that like weight loss is like shown in the media and shown online and stuff, it's always just like lose this much weight this fast and it's going to happen like that. And if you're not losing weight this quickly this fast, then you're terrible and you're not doing a good job. That's how it makes a lot of people feel, and especially if you've got like kind of like a perfectionist background or mentality about it, it can be hard because you know or you want to be good at something, but when it comes
Mhm.
to like weight loss and getting good at working out, it's a skill, and you can't be great at something until you've practiced it quite a bit. And so,
Absolutely.
and I think that was, and a lot of times people just really want to, they want to be good at it from the get go, and when they aren't, especially for a perfectionist, it can like really knock you down a peg and make you feel bad or kind of go to like a negative like headspace. So yeah. So how is that kind of like where how you felt about that kind of stuff in the past or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was to the point of where like I said, I was either over exercising and not getting enough caloric intake,
Mhm.
or replenishing my muscles. So yeah, I looked great because I was thin, but it wasn't healthy, right? So it
Mhm.
wasn't the healthiest I could be.
Mhm.
And I was hurting myself more, than I was helping myself.
Mhm.
And when I'm binge eating, like my stress, obviously that's not healthy and being
Yeah.
lackadaisical. So really it was like if I'm not going to be able to do it perfect and I'm not going to get there every single day, if I'm not going to show up 100%, if I'm not going to do it 7 days a week, for the hour and a half, then it's not, I'm not doing it and I'm not going
Yeah.
to achieve it. And so it's not worth starting, which
Yeah.
is so silly.
Like looking
But
back on it now, it's like like because a lot of people are like, if I can't be perfect at it, what's the point in trying? And then they don't, or they get kind of no. I really like that though. That's like
yeah,
exactly like a perfect description of kind of how that kind of happens. So
yeah.
when it comes to like, and also like when you were doing that, like going like 100% in, how sustainable was that? Like how did that like go like that you try and go and you end up kind of like burning out probably, right?
Yeah, yeah. So either way, it's just one of those things of where whether I was going like hardcore doing nothing, or hardcore doing everything, neither of them was a good fit, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't doing myself any justice. And you're right, it's not a lifestyle change at that point.
Mhm.
It's you're trying to fix this problem,
Mhm.
that you see, whether it's in yourself or what, or if it's like a doctor says, hey, you need to get into shape. Myself, I mean, I wasn't obese. I'm not. I'd like to look
Mhm.
at me. You would never necessarily think that inside my head I would want to lose weight or to work out. But
Mhm.
there are people do struggle with that body image, and so when you do get to that point, you're almost like self-defeating.
Yeah.
If you can't meet that goal or it's not quick enough, or you feel like you allow that fear
Mhm.
to or that intimidation to keep you from
Mhm.
going, then you just don't go. And then you're like, well, I'll wait till next year, or I'll wait till next month, or I'll wait till Monday to,
Yeah.
I'm just going to eat all this great food this weekend, and then I'll wait till Monday. But that's, then you just continue to wait, right?
Yeah.
There's always that
Kicking the
excuse.
can down
And
the road, you're like, oh well, something else came up, and then oh well, like,
absolutely.
life never stops throwing obstacles at us, and it just keeps on keeping on. You either got to start taking action in the face of those obstacles, or
Yeah.
just keep putting it off. So, I was gonna say, like, how is like that like 0 to 100 kind of like all in all out mentality? Like, how do you feel like that was like negatively impacting you like before?
It just continued. It was like a vicious cycle. So I'm not going to say I still don't struggle with negative self-talk, because I do, right? We're inundated from media and social media
Yeah.
and, just these worldly expectations of what we need to look like and how we need to
Mhm.
be and all of these things that are just thrown our way. And so, that's a daily battle to be intentional about how I speak to myself.
Mhm.
But in terms of your question, yeah, it's one of those things of where, I have to be intentional. I have to make sure that I'm not allowing that negativity to get me to that point of where I'm saying, well, this is bad and I shouldn't do it, or
Mhm.
I'm bad because I did this, right?
Yeah.
It's a choice and I need to own it. And there were times during the program where I would text you and I would be like, hey, Austin, I drank half a bottle of wine and ate a pizza. And like, no, it was not in my macros, right? But you
Yeah.
give yourself grace and you move on. And
Mhm.
it's a lifestyle. Like, you have to have that moderation and you have to have that balance. And that's something, especially with counting my macros and things, that was so huge in
Mhm.
learning and working with you, because it wasn't like, when I would restrict myself from eating all the things I love, right? Because then a weekend I'm gonna just stuff my face with bacon the
Yeah.
moment I see it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's one of those things. It's like one, like I'm big on like progress, not perfection. And
Yeah.
then the other thing too is like so many people like you just like kind of like laid it out there perfectly. Like a lot of people like they're on these like such restrictive diet plans or like fad diets that they're trying to follow that just aren't sustainable because they're so overly restricted on what they can and can't have
Mhm.
that if I walked up to you and I was like, hey Ashley, like you can never eat pizza again. You can never drink like for the rest of your life, and like that's that. If you want to do that, you're probably gonna laugh in my face and screw you. I'm gonna go eat pizza and go have a glass of wine, and it's like yeah, like it's one of those things. Like if you tell somebody that they can't have something, and a lot of times when people tell themselves they can't have something, well then that's all you think about, and then that's all
Yeah,
that you want. Like you want it even more, and so it's just counterproductive to the whole thing. So no, yeah, that's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, you got to still enjoy, your anniversary, and you got to go and enjoy. I think you had like a bridesmaid party thing, some sort of thing like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you went.
I did. Yeah, bridal shower. Good
Yeah, you got to
memory.
go on
Yeah.
bridal shower. I remember stuff, and you got to do that stuff too, and like
Yeah.
you still got to see great progress over time because you were so consistent with things. And it's not about being perfect at it every day. It's about being consistent with it enough times that you're more on than you are off, basically. So, but yeah, no, that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you and I first met, like, what was your initial hesitation to deciding to work with me?
So I think it always comes down to, like, I have high expectations of myself. I think being an inherent perfectionist, with ask anybody who's ever known me, I'm a perfectionist, right? So whether I hate it or not
Yeah.
about myself, it's who I am. So I think the struggle was I have such high expectations of myself that I put those expectations and I project them onto others. And
Hmm.
so a lot of the times I then feel disappointed
Hmm.
because either in my interactions with them or whatever, because I feel like I'm not getting back what I put in.
Hmm.
And that was not the case at all, because you allowed me to be my authentic self.
Hmm.
And like when I told you, hey Austin, tell me I suck, you were like, I'm not gonna tell you you suck. Which like I probably needed told that I sucked, but you were just like, no. And
Yeah.
then it was absolutely great. So I think just that was the first thing, is just being so worried, like another person is going to see what I'm eating and another person is going to see if I'm checking in at the gym. And like, I needed that accountability. Right. But
Yeah.
then I was like, oh my gosh, what if he gets disappointed in me? And that's always something that I kind of put on myself, was like, well, what if I disappoint that person? So that was a big thing. And I'm just weird. So that's probably not everybody's thing. But then the second part of it is like time, right?
Hmm.
So really shifting my perspective to recognizing that what I invest in myself today
Hmm.
can give me exponentially so much more time in the future, because I chose to take care of myself, right? I chose
Hmm.
to eat healthy and I chose to exercise and to gain muscle. And hopefully that will offset any, negative health issue, since my family is just inundated with them. Like, hopefully I can stave off that, right? But it's just one of those things of where you just trying to find that time. And I had to make that intentional time, recognizing that what I invest in myself today, I'm going to pay, in dividends positively in the future, because we all have the same amount of time in our day. And it just depends on what you're choosing to invest your time in. Am I choosing to sit on social media for 45 minutes, or am I going to go walk on the treadmill? I mean, that's my choice. And I can still scroll through social media sitting, walking on the treadmill.
Absolutely.
So it's there's lots of times where I would listen to podcasts or listen to I'm big in my faith, so listening to the Bible being read while I was working out, because then I had an opportunity to glorify God, whom I love, but I was also investing in myself by walking on the treadmill or lifting weights. And so I made that time, and everyone, I think, has it. They just have to really recognize where they're spending their time and what's important to them. At the end of the day, our choices, where we invest our time, that speaks to, regardless of what you say, your choices speak to what's important to you, right?
Yep.
So
absolutely. No, that's perfect. And it's one of those things too. It's like, I love what you said, like that you were able to listen to your Bible on your, while you were doing your things, or listen to podcasts or things like that, because it's like you're able to still do things that you enjoy while also you're incorporating things. You're almost habit stacking. You're still getting even more out of that time that you're using for your health. And then you're also totally right when it comes to what you're doing now is going to pay off in the future. There's a quote. It's we can take our food is medicine now, or our medicine is food later. And it's one of those things. It's a lot of people don't think about that. It's what we do now for ourselves and for our health is going to pay off in dividends later on in the future. It's a gym membership costs money. Getting good food for yourself to hit your macros, that costs money too. But you know what else costs money? Being on a bunch of medications when you're 60 years old, paying for all these medical bills and surgeries and things like that you're going to end up having to get because you didn't take care of your body. And also it's one of those things, whenever we end up getting older to a point, that's the number one thing people always say they wish they had more of, is time. It's one of those things. It's like you could ask the billionaires of the world, and that's the one thing they would trade it all away in an instant if it meant they got more time. And that's what we're doing, is giving ourselves more time by taking care of ourselves. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on that you said was whenever we first kind of started working together, that feeling of disappointing somebody else, that's really common. That's not just you, that's really that's a really common thing that a lot of people feel, is I don't want to be this person's going to be watching what I'm doing. They're going to be knowing what I'm working out or not. They're going to know if I suck today. It's hard to be vulnerable like that. And that's hard to be uncomfortable like that. But something that I like to talk about a lot, and and this because we've been working together for a while, is just, if true growth occurs outside of your comfort zone. Old Ashley was in this box. And you want to become new and improved Ashley that values her, fitness and her health and self-care. She's not going to be in that box. You got to get outside of that box and start acting doing those things that make you uncomfortable. And so, and you did that. And you, thankfully, you're all right, whenever we had the consultation call, you were just all right, let's do it. After we talked, we were just all right, screw it, let's just do it. Let's go for it. Let's go. And I was
I'm all or nothing.
Yeah, you are. And I was all right, there we go. Oh, there we go. So it begins. And thankfully that happened. So we worked together for 12 weeks, correct? And so, what sort of results have we been able to accomplish together in that period of time?
Well, lots of great ones. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that I have always so I've always been an athlete, and then after I had kids, your body changes, and I have a lot of preach. Am I right? So, and then after I had, I played sports all of my life, and I have these injuries now that happened way back in the day that are exacerbated because I had kids, and I'm getting older, and it's one of those things of where I struggled to be able to do HIIT exercises or even ab exercises. So when you and I first started working together, and about halfway through the journey, I was seeing also a physical therapist, and she was amazing to make sure that I was investing in now so that I didn't re-hurt myself for later.
Yep.
And so one of the greatest things that has happened is I can now fully do activities. I have the endurance that I want. I can, I have the energy levels, even when my kids keep me up at night. Like if you've seen me the last 2 weeks, I look like a zombie. Like this is, I'm exhausted, but that's part of life. And so one of the biggest things I think is just that I have that ability to feel like I can do now. So if I want to go to Sky Zone and jump with my kid, like I just did this Saturday, I can do it, and I'm not hurting afterwards. I'm not winded from doing it. You look at the scale, and I think it was 8 pounds that I've lost total. But like you look at my body difference, and holy cow! I mean, I've got like delts, and I've got like some.
Yeah, you do.
Look at this. Look at this. So, like my calves look great. I dropped from a size 10 and today I'm wearing a size 6 pants. So, I mean, that's a huge deal for me because I'm cheap and I don't like to buy clothes. So I get to wear some of my old clothes, but, I think it's just that, it's the body recomposition and it's the endurance and the energy. And not only that, it's mentally. Like mentally, I started out, I think the first like 2 days I was in the gym, I messaged you or Marco Polo'd you. And I was like, I feel so out of place because everyone knows what they're doing. And I was an athlete, don't get me wrong. We never really weightlifted. So like, I didn't know what I was doing, right? And I felt so uncomfortable and self-conscious. And then by the end of it, like you see me today and I walk into Planet Fitness, I got on my leggings, I've got on my like muscle tee, and I'm out there busting 35 pound, which doesn't sound like a lot to people, but like 35-pound dumbbells and just killing it. And it took me being empowered by having a cheerleader and a person invest in me holistically and really be there for me like you were, to talk me out of the bad days and to encourage me, and to, cheer with me on the good days. And, my self-talk has been a lot different. It has been a lot different. I no longer, when I want a cheeseburger, I eat the cheeseburger if my macros allow it, right? And then I don't lambaste myself for eating a cheeseburger. I'm just like, oh, that was delicious. Yay.
Your relationship with food improves too when you
my relationship with food. I think that is phenomenal. And my relationship with just myself. Like I knew one day I wasn't feeling it. I needed to do 30 minutes of cardio. That was what was on my trainer eyes. And normally I would have ran it and I would have been able to do that just fine. I walked it and I watched The Handmaid's Tale. And instead of because I never get to watch TV at my house because my kids all watch TV. But it made me like take a moment, and instead of hating on myself because I was like, you could have ran it, right? You could have gotten so many more calories burned and blah, blah, blah. I accepted it. And I said, at least I showed up today. At least I showed up for myself and I walked those 30 minutes and I still did something more than if I was just sitting on the couch.
Yeah. And something is better than nothing. Like that's the other thing, like something's better than nothing. And one other thing I was going to say is like, I just remember one time, like you messaged me and you were just like you're like, oh my gosh, my mindset is like improved so much and shifted. Cause a lot of times, and this is something that a lot of people do. And, I've even done it in the past, is like comparison. When you go to the gym, you see all these people who are in crazy good shape that have been, it's just like, oh my God, like, who built you like to be like that kind of thing? And it's like, a lot of times people go to the gym and they have this like constant comparison, and it almost like paralyzes them in a sense, and it makes them feel like they don't belong at the gym. But it's like everybody's got like a different starting point. And so just, being nice to yourself when it comes to, that self-talk is, kind of where that shines through, and that's where it kind of helps out a lot. And so I just remember that was something that you mentioned to me, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's really, like, really cool. So, but yeah, outside of fitness, like, what would you say has been like the big changes that you've kind of like seen in your life? Just because I know when we first started working together, self-care was like the hardest thing for you to like even like fathom, like self-care, like what's that, like is that like is that like a movie or something? Like, I'm not doing that, yeah, so
That's so funny with my shit eating grin here.
yeah.
So it's still hard. Self-care is still hard because I'm a giver. I give of my time. Like, and I'm a super modest person, I promise. So I don't say that like to be braggy or anything, but it's just, I just give. And that's where I I enjoy that about myself. I enjoy giving to others and speaking life to others and investing in others. But taking time to invest in myself, you're right, I wasn't. It's gotten a little bit harder since I'm working the 2 jobs right now. Kiddos being sick with earaches and things like that, and teething. But outside of just like fitness, I think one of the biggest things too is that I've started setting boundaries because I've recognized my self-worth. And I can't remember what we said, but it was in a conversation one time, and I was like, you know what? I normally would have like not gone and taken the time out, 30, 40 minutes to go to the gym and get my workout in that I had missed during the week because it was the weekend and I'm very big on family and I want to spend time with my husband. But I knew that it was important for me to be consistent and to show up for myself. And so I said, this isn't selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Moms, if you hear me, self-care is not selfish. Say it again, look in the mirror, repeat what I said. And so it's one of those things of where I was able to even set a boundary, and I was like, hey, I really need you to be home from duck hunting because I need to go to the gym at some point in time today, or at least go into, our workout room and get in my run because that's what I need to do for me. I have to show up for me too. So setting boundaries is hard for a giver. But I've started to, because again, I recognize that I am worth setting boundaries for and investing my time in as well, and giving, to myself, not in a selfish way, again, by any means, but investing in myself now, again, so that I can be around for as long as possible, God willing, and all the things I can control.
Yeah. And it's one of those things like investing, like a lot of people, like, and parents especially, like they'll feel guilty about investing in themselves or taking time for themselves. But it's like, what they kind of fail to realize, or what is hard to realize, because you're feeling that guilt and you're feeling that like I'm taking like resources for myself and that feels like selfish or whatever. Like what they kind of fail to realize is like doing that for yourself is one of the most selfless things you can do, because it's going to help you be your best self for them and for the people that you actually care about. And so it's kind of goes back to the whole, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. Like if you keep like, you love giving and giving and giving and giving, but eventually if you just have that cup turned upside down, it's going to run out. And then you're going to start to see some cracks in that foundation or whatever. Yeah. And so you got to take that time to fill that cup back up. And I think that you've just gotten so much better about that. Just it's been awesome. So that's cool. So for anyone that's listening to this, like thinking about starting their own fitness journey, what would you say to them?
I would say, don't allow, let me start over. Fear is a liar. I think too often we allow fear of the unknown. We allow fear of failing. We allow fear of letting somebody down. At least for me, like I allow all fear of change. Oh my gosh. Fear that you're not going to be good at something. Like I think fear, just ultimately, do not let it hold you back from anything. If you're interested in getting into a fitness journey, it's not like just, like, oh, you're going to get big muscles, right? It's this thing of where you're investing in yourself so that you can be around for as long as possible. You can be your best self for everybody involved. If it's learning a new skill, then by golly, go learn a new skill, but don't allow fear to keep you and hold you back from doing something that could literally change your life for the better. And it will. I mean, it will change your life. and I've just learned so much.
Yeah.
And even like somebody who came back, I had a background in like nutrition and you know, I was an athlete, like I had all these different things and I still learned a ton. I still learned a ton. And the greatest thing was to have somebody, right? Because I'm the cheerleader for everybody, to
Yeah.
have somebody cheering me on who took
Yeah.
the time to invest in me just as much as I was investing in the program. So
Yeah.
I can't speak highly enough of Austin. So
Thank you.
yeah, he didn't pay me to say that.
No,
So that's
it's like, well, it's like who motivates the motivators, who cheers
right.
on the cheerleaders. Like I have a mentor, like
Yeah.
because it's like I know how important it is for my clients that I work with to have me do that for them. It's like, well, like, you know, it just makes sense to do that for myself too. And so yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up now because like yeah, no, I have to. But like whenever Ashley started working with me, I sent out to a couple of my clients that I wanted to see how this would work, and I told them to send me a video of them. Basically, you know, it was like basically like a video of them cheering themselves on and telling themselves that they're awesome and that they can do this and that they are capable of, you know, reaching their goals. And I get this like funny, like super, just like she's in her car, just like sitting there, just like dancing and just being like, I'm awesome, I'm cool, like, and it was just like it was like this odd like little rhyme thing, and like and there were times when you were kind of feeling kind of, you know, like having a rough day, and I was like, it's time for this video. Like it's time to shine. Sent that thing. I mean, I think it made you feel a little bit better.
It
so
did.
yeah,
It
and
did.
so yeah. I just want to bring that up and at the end here, and just to not embarrass you, but just to be like, you know, end with the whole like, you know, you're awesome, you're cool, and it was awesome and cool working with you, you know, this whole time. And, you know, maybe we'll end up doing some more stuff in the future once you get more goals. But, you know, until then, like, I'm just so elated seeing how much you've progressed and just seeing how things are going for you. So other than that, though, I think that kind of wraps up this interview. We've been going for about a half hour now, so I can let you go. I want to respect your time. So, but yeah.
Thanks,
cool.
Austin.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Seriously, it's definitely worth it. I encourage everyone who's interested. Austin is great. His group is supportive. I mean, and really there's never a dumb question. I mean, like I said, he has taught me just an asinine amount of stuff that I never would have even thought about. So definitely worth it. Okay. I appreciate you too. Bye, friends.
Bye.